Well, a very good day, YouTubers, and welcome to my storage unit, or as I like to call it, the workshop. And today I'm going to be performing a small service on the BMW here. I'm going to be changing the engine oil and filter and checking and, if necessary, adjusting the valve clearances. Firstly then, I'll be doing the valve clearances. The requirement is that the engine is absolutely stone cold, which it will be because the bike has been here in the storage unit when I put it off the road back in around about October last year. First job then is to remove these engine guards, one on each side, just these bolts here and one at the front. Well, that's off, and now just to do the other side. Right, the covers are off both sides. Now I need to remove the spark plugs. Now there's two spark plugs per cylinder on these. There's the main one there, and there's a smaller one in the side of the cylinder head underneath. And to get these caps off, these have the coil is built into the plug cap, and you use this special tool which slides on and fits onto there, and then you give it a pull. It can be stiff sometimes, but oh no, because I look after this bike, it comes out fine. Now these spark plugs are buried way down in the cylinder head there, so I'm using the proper 16mm spark plug socket with an attachment. These are slim because it's quite a tight fit. An ordinary 16mm may be too fat to fit down the hole there. And I shall do that. Click it onto the spark plug, and we'll remove that. And out comes the spark plug. And now these are supposed to be changed every 12,000 mile service. This is a 6,000 mile service. The plugs are fine. Got a nice, slightly dark, almost browny colour. Centre electrode's nice and clean. So yeah, nothing wrong with that plug. And now the same on the other side. Now we come to remove the valve cover, and it's just these 4 bolts. There may be a tiny bit of oil seepage when I take the cover off, so I've put this bit of shop rag paper down here to catch any drips. They're designed to stay in the case. And I'll take just a rubber mallet, and I'm going to give the case a very gentle tap. Oh, and there comes a load of oil. And we'll take the cover off. Like so. Bit more oil than I've experienced previously. But at least I know there's nothing wrong with the lubrication system in the valve gear. A bit more rag maybe. These are the rockers, and I'm going to have to turn the engine so that each rocker and valve is in the correct position in order to check the clearances between the valve stem around the back of here and the rocker itself. Now on the right hand side of the bike, I need to turn the engine over manually until a tiny little nub, a little sticky out bit on the camshaft sprocket is pointing straight out, and then on the other side both the rockers, the inlet and exhaust rockers, will be loose. They'll have a bit of play in them, which means that the engine's at top dead center on its compression stroke. Then I'll be able to check and adjust, if needed, the valve clearances on the left hand side. To turn the engine over, I'm going to put the bike into 6th gear and then turn the back wheel in its normal direction of travel. That's second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Yep, sixth gear. And now I can go on the other side, turn the back wheel, and wait until the camshaft comes around, and then I've got free play in these rockers on this side. Ooh, they don't make it easy. Not far now. I've received some motorbike related questions, and while I'm doing this work I thought I'd answer some of them throughout this video. And the first one is from Grumpy Mealy 2441. He asked, which do you prefer, the narrowboat or the motorbike, and which do your viewers prefer? Well, personally, for the whole experience and the practicalities, I prefer the motorbike for travel. You can see a lot more on a motorbike than you can on a canal boat. You're restricted by the nature of canal boats to the canals or rivers. So yeah, the narrowboat is more of a lifestyle. It's a life. I live on the boat, and I have been cruising around quite a lot, exploring the canals. Less so recently. I want to do more motorbike related stuff. Which do my viewers prefer? Well, I'd say the majority narrowboat. I mean, I was doing other stuff before I bought the narrowboat on this channel. Some of it motorbikes, engines, car repairs, things like that. Motorbikes are something that have always been in my blood and something I'll always do. And when I visit nice places, it's nice to occasionally do a bit of content related to it, or doing some motorbike maintenance, that kind of thing. So I would say the majority of my viewers, probably about 55-60%, prefer just the narrowboat, but there are a lot of narrowboat viewers who also have motorbikes and like motorbike content. So yeah, you're probably looking at about 55-60% narrowboat, and then probably around about, what does that make? That makes about 30%, or say 25%, 30% motorbikes, and the remainder cooking and so on. Okay, both rockers have free play in them. The engine piston is top dead center, the engine's on its compression stroke. And I now need to check the clearances of both of these valves on the exhaust side and the inlet side. The front clearance is 0.3 of a millimeter. The inlet clearance is 0.15 of a millimeter. Now I need two feeler gauges to do this. This one I have on 0.3 millimeters, which is the front rocker clearance, and 0.15, which is the rear inlet valve clearance. So I'm going to attempt to get a 0.3 feeler gauge in there, and it does. Feels very slightly loose. So they may need just a tiny little tighten. And the inlet side is tightish, very tightish. So they need slightly loosening. To do this, I take my 10mm spanner and I'm just going to slightly loosen off these nuts. I'll just hold that slightly in place with the little Allen bit. Like so, just so I can have a little bit of movement of the Allen bit, like so. There we go. And I'll take one of my feeler gauges, I'll loosen that off, and in goes the feeler gauge. I'm then going to tighten it slightly, just so there's you just want a little bit of grab, nothing more. Like that. The feeler gauge should sort of stay where it is. And I'll do the same with the top one. Loosen it off very slightly. In it goes. Get it in there like that. Tighten it up very slightly. I mean, we're talking very small amounts here. And they're both, I want them both to feel the same sort of drag. And we're there. That's the inlet set. Got a good bit of play there. That's the inlet's done. I'm now going to just quickly check the exhaust valves, and I need 0.3 for that. I probably could also do with a new set of feeler gauges at some point. A little bit loose-ish, so they need tightening up slightly. Same as before. Loosen off the lock nuts. And I'll just give these a little tweak. Calls for patience in this job. If you're not the patient type, then don't do this. Nice. And that should do it. Well, that's this side done. I'm now going to turn the engine 180 degrees and do the other side. But the other side is exactly the same as doing this side. Okay, I've done the valves on the other side and refitted the cover and torqued it up. So I'm just going to do the same on this side. So yeah, just ensure that the gasket round here is in good condition and still in place. They tend to stick in place anyway. And also make sure that this little rubber gasket is fitted on the end of here. It tends to stick in there. If that's the case, take it out, because it's a lot easier to put it back on here, give it a clean, and we can then refit the valve cover. Don't want to force anything. It should just slot into place like that, like so, and then we do this up. I'll just do them loosely at first by hand. It's easy for them to miss the hole. There we go, got it in the hole there. Push it in straight and we're good to go. And I'm going to quickly do these up just by hand, holding the valve guide in place as I go. Do them diagonally, and I'm going to tighten them up with a torque wrench set to 10 Newton meters. Now I'll just set my torque wrench to 10 Newton meters. It's not massively tight, and we'll just give them a little tweak diagonally, tightening them a bit more as we go. And then we'll go for the 10. That's it, that's all it takes. Now I'll refit the spark plug. I'm going to push it into the tool and do it by hand. You don't want to go cranking it up straight away with the ratchet. Put it in by hand. That way we know that we're not cross-threading it. It might be a bit tight, but it's already in there. It's ready to go. So I'll just give it another gentle turn. It's already at the bottom. And I'm going to set my torque wrench to 20 Newton meters. And we'll just tighten that up. And that's it. Make sure the coil and spark plug cap is nice and clean and push it in there. There we go. That's in there. Then I can take this cover, make sure the cable's fitted in there properly, and that's that job done. Another viewer question, and once again this is from Grumpy Mealy 2441, getting greedy. If you could own any motorbike, which would it be? Well, simply, I have the motorbikes that I want to own. I have the BMW, which is my touring machine. I have the scooter, which is now my daily runner, great for whizzing around. And I have the other bike, which I hinted at in a previous video, which I'll be doing a video of, a review and a test ride. But that's my ultimate, sort of styling motorbike. The scooter is for running around, and the BMW's for touring. So I have the motorbikes I want to own. Maybe at a later date, a later model BMW. But I don't see myself getting rid of the scooter. I mean, that's so handy and cheap to run. And this other motorbike, well, you'll just have to wait and see what that's all about. Now I need to change the engine oil and filter, and to do that I need to fire the bike up and get some heat into the oil, which will make it easier to drain. So while the engine's warming up, I'll just remove the bash guard. Alright, the engine oil is now warmed up, got about 4 blobs on the temperature gauge, and I'm going to remove the old oil filter using this special little tool on the end, which is difficult to remove. There we go. It's made to fit around the oil filter, and we'll undo that. And of course oil will come pouring out. I've got gloves on because of old engine oil, and it'll be hot as well. So yeah, it's going to start pouring out. Don't want to get it on my arms because it'll be hot. I've got this old oil can which I cut a hole in the side of, and I can use that as a catch can. Oop, there we go. And it is hot. It only took about 5 minutes to warm up. I'll pour in there what I can. There we go. Nice. Now I need to undo the sump plug, and this one's a bit old, but yeah, it's a bit old. It's not magnetic, and the teeth in the Torx socket of the sump plug are a bit worn, so I've bought a new stainless steel magnetic sump plug from Motorworks, but this is going to pour out at quite a rate. There we go. Let's just get oil all over the place, shall we? Not a very good drain pan. I've swapped it for a proper drain pan, but it's still not particularly good. And there's a mountain of oil on the floor now, so I'll let this drain and then I'm going to clear that up. Yeah, always does it, this thing. Good old Halfords. I used to do this sort of thing outside in all temperatures, lying on gravel, so I can't complain. Okay, the oil's drained, the last few drops there, and I'm going to screw in the new sump plug by hand, and then we need to torque that to a setting of 23 Newton meters initially, then undo it and then do it to 32. So I'll go 20, 23 Newton meters, not foot pounds, because you'll probably shear it. And we'll do that up like that, undo it like so, and then 32. And there we go. That's the new sump plug in. Take the new oil filter, take out the rubber ring, and I want to add on, put onto that some new engine oil. We just want to coat the rubber ring. Doesn't need a huge amount, like so. Put that back into the new oil filter, like so. Get that in there nicely. Quick wipe of the hands, and I'll take my oil filter tool into there and screw that up onto the thingy, onto the fitting. There it goes. And that requires just 11 Newton meters, which is hardly anything at all really, but we just want it to seat. And that's it. Now we come to the part which I enjoy the most of doing an oil change, and that's putting the fresh oil in. And for this, the oil goes in here. I have to use this special tool. I'm using Castrol Power 1. It's a 10W40 weight fully synthetic oil. Now BMW don't recommend using fully synthetic on these engines until they've covered at least 6,000 miles. And this engine takes in the region of 4 litres. I'll put in a good amount and then I'll just check on the sight glass at the side there. Quick check of the sight glass, nothing yet. The difference in oil quantity between the bottom of the sight glass and the top is 500 millilitres. Now it's on the sight glass, and that's about right. I'm just going to put a little bit more in because when the engine starts and it pumps the oil around, some of it will remain in the cylinder heads, so you'll have slightly less sort of reading. But I'm just going to put in another little glug and then I'll start her up. And a final question from Cactus Kid 1492. Did you plan the Scottish road trip knowing you'd get 1 episode per day? It's a very good question. When I set off, I didn't have an idea of how it was going to work video wise. I just knew that I needed to film all the content in order to make videos. It wasn't till I got back to Aslan and started editing I realised I had a huge amount of content, and I flicked through various stages of the road trip and I realised that all of it was good. I didn't want to discard anything. That everything that I included in the road trip is basically what I filmed, and everything was absolutely fantastic. Scotland, the islands, the ferry trips were amazing, so I just included everything. And that's the way that's the way it evolved, and it went on, yeah, for 38 episodes, I believe. So no, I didn't go into it, you know, thinking, right, I'm going to get one per day. As it worked out, it was around about 1.5 days per episode. Some of the longer rides went over 2 episodes, so there was 1 day for 2 episodes. The whole trip took me 4 weeks, and I got 38 episodes. So yeah, some of the videos were longer, you know, 1 day to 2 videos. So yeah, there you go. Now it's gone out. There we go. A little check for leaks. Okay, that's it. There is a final check for the oil level. You have to take the bike for a run. You then, you know, get it up to temperature. You then stop. You put it on the side stand for, you know, about a minute. You then put it on the center stand, leave it for about 3 or 4 minutes, and then the reading in the sight glass is your actual reading of the oil level.